What's up, everyone? Welcome to the RRBG podcast. I'm here with James of Gost. How are you, brother?
Good, man. How are you?
Good, good. I like your hat. Don't kill yourself. It's a good message.
It's the band Health.
Okay. Yes, that makes sense. Well, shout out to Health. They're fucking killing it right now, too. They keep dropping really, really interesting collaborations, so I'm all about it.
Absolutely.
Is that something you've been thinking about doing more? I don't know, with the new album. Are there more collaborations, or what are you thinking?
I've never really liked doing collaborations because it's all over the internet and it just doesn't feel. I've tried to do a few and they just don't feel. I don't know. I think it would work better if I was in a studio environment with someone.
Right.
I can never get my points across through email and everything like I want them to. Maybe it's just I haven't thus far.
I see. Yeah, there's not the same writing music over email. It's the same element goes with any band. I think I'm not. I mean, I know some bands make it work. They got the flow down, whatever they need. But I've always preferred to just be in a room jamming. I think it's the best way to come up with music.
Yeah, same, dude.
Yeah. So tell me about this. I saw the new videos, and I feel like. Am I wrong by thinking that there's like a look change to the whole thing? Because I mean, you in previous videos you had face paint, you had also like the mask, and now this is more just natural, kind of hanging out. Is that intentional?
Absolutely. I don't know, with the new record, it's a little more personal, and just felt like it was time for a change. Moving away from the mask and doing the paint. I was headed this way, anyways.
So the album comes out today, right?
Yeah, it's out.
It's a good day to talk to you. How's that been? I mean, waking up to having an album out in this uncertain time.
It's been good. I mean, so far the response is good. I wish that I could promise that there's a tour coming, but who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, man. I was having this conversation yesterday because this weekend I've been making plans for things to do. Like shows, I bought a couple show tickets, but I'm in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is not going to happen. And it just, as I'm like, this weekend is the first couple of events that I'm like supposed to attend. So I'm fingers crossed, but
I hear you.
It's seeming like more and more like either everybody needs to get on board with the mandatory vaccination proof thing, or shows are just going to shut down again.
Seems that way, man. I mean, I'm planning one for this winter. But like you said, who knows?
Yeah. So was that part of the creative process with this new album? Were you writing through the pandemic, or is this stuff that you had from before the pandemic that you kind of just worked on during the pandemic?
I wrote most of this, I'd say 95% of it during the pandemic. Having all that extra time, it was actually good because I probably would have driven myself completely fucking crazy.
Yeah. Being home alone. I mean, especially when you're a touring musician, it's got this like, there's like 3 or 4 days of like, oh, this is nice being home. Maybe watch something on Netflix, and then it's like, okay, when's the next show? Gotta get time to get on the road.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So do you think that affected the writing process in terms of lyrics or whatever it is the theme, even just emotions that are going into it? Because you're saying it's more open, more personal. So is that kind of what the lyrics are about?
Yeah, I mean, I did kind of a quasi concept around witchcraft and the treatment of women tied to witchcraft, and just thinking differently throughout history, which really tied in with the pandemic and the current worldwide politics and how volatile they've become. And, we're still kind of the same people we were, 500 years ago. We're just not killing each other too much over it.
Yet.
Yet.
I just saw yesterday, my buddy texted me. He lives in Texas, and he was like, hey, check this out. They just put into law in Texas that you can walk around with a handgun without a permit. So we just went straight back into the Wild West periods of cowboys just walking around with the fucking 2-shooters, like what the fuck is happening?
I'm in Texas, dude, and it's these people are crazy. They're crazy.
It's crazy out there, right? It's not just me. All right.
No, it's not just me.
I mean, I'm from Florida, and you know, Florida's got a reputation. You got Florida Man, you know, it's a thing. So, but
Yeah.
I feel like Texas is trying to out Florida.
I feel like they're both always competing lately.
Yeah, it's the newest pay-per-view. We should have that, Texas versus Florida. So tell me more about what you were saying. You mentioned that, you know, about the rights of women and everything, because the cover of the album has got some ladies on it. It's the rights of love and reverence. So tell me more about that. Like, what got you into that theme and thinking about that?
Well, I guess what you would call a feminist. I have two daughters, and
Nice.
I don't know, dude. It's not just about women. You know, that was a jumping off point. It's just kind of a general social commentary on how we treat other people that are different than ourselves. And you know, we've lost. I don't know if it was ever that way, because I feel like I'm just now an actual adult, sort of. You know what I mean? And so I just feel like we've gotten away from any sort of meeting in the middle. It's so one way or the other now, and people are very violent. And I guess the internet helps. You know, it puts that wall up where you're able to be that way, because I don't agree with any of my neighbors, but we don't have the same kind of fucking conversations that happen on Instagram or Facebook. It's not like I'm like, you know,
opening the window of your bedroom and yelling at your neighbor like, "Hey, I hate that you like that movie, by the way," and just close the window. Like, that's what's happening on Facebook.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening on Facebook, but it's not in the real world. I just feel like we got to get away from this whole faceless, not treating the internet like it's not the real world, because it's become a part of the real world.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. I was thinking about this the other day, and I mentioned it on one of the other episodes that, you know, it's a controversial thought, but the fact that I don't think everyone should be posting on the internet. I think there should be a permit or a license. You take a little test, a quiz, a certificate, whatever you want to call it. But you have to earn the right to post nonsense on the internet, because people are posting. Are you there? Oh, okay, I lost you for a second.
I'm back.
All right. I was saying, like, people should have a permit to post stuff like videos, like content, because you go to TikTok, you got dudes like conspiracy theories left and right, and if you don't know any better, you're a kid or you're like an old person that's not really paying attention. Or even if you're not an old person, if you're not paying attention, and this dude's like, "Hey, by the way, the government told me to dump oil everywhere," and you're like, "What?" And then you just, you know, you message that to your friends, and they message it to them, "Oh my God, it's crazy," and it's like, that's not real.
Yeah.
And whoever posted that, it shouldn't just be like, "Oh, hey, you can't post on TikTok anymore." It's like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah. I think
is
the problem is that it becomes real, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because it's not, you can say bullshit, but people, I don't know, they just run with it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Let's not get too into that.
I can get so into negativity of the current situation, but yeah, let's avoid that.
Well, so your music does not that it's negative, but it brings out like sad feelings for me, and also some of the dancier aspects of when I was in post high school, early college. I was going to goth clubs a lot, and listening to Covenant and like V&V Nations, and you know, and I get that vibe from your music as well, and that's why it immediately attracted me to it. So, is that something you grew up doing in high school as well? Like, what got you into that world?
Definitely, man, and it's still like something I kind of do when I'm on the road, and I need like a definite safe like place to go kick it, you know, like a bar. If there's a goth night, I'll just go fucking hit that up, because I know it's gonna just be a bunch of weirdos that don't give a shit that I'm there. They just want to have a good time. And I don't know, you know, I've always been a huge Depeche Mode fan. You know, KMFDM, you know, all the good stuff from back in the day. There's just so many good bands from the 90s, especially for that kind of thing. So yeah, I've always been into it.
I was reading, you know, trying to prepare for today, and I saw a bunch of, you know, different articles that were referring to you as like you're pioneer of the dark synthwave kind of vibe of the music that came back. Because I mean, it was there back, like you said, you know, the VMV and all that KMFDM time period was late 90s, I guess, early 2000s. But it's back and with a vengeance, and you're attributed with being one of the first of it to do it. So. What were the steps, do you think, for you to reintroduce the world to that kind of music?
I don't know, dude. It just kind of it started out as more of trying to be more of like I guess what quintessential synthwave is, more cinematic, and I just quickly realized that that wasn't very fulfilling. Not only to write but try and perform that live.
Yeah.
Uh, and as far as I wanted to get away from the heavier side of music, it just always comes creeping back in. Like I'll sit down to write a record, and I'm not gonna scream on this one, but it just naturally works its way back into my writing process.
Yeah, I mean I like that you leave it because some people make the conscious choice of like I'm not gonna scream, and even if it feels natural and like it should be there, they refuse to do it. And I don't know if it's because I've also done music for years, but I can feel that when I'm listening to the song, like that could have been, you could have done something else there, but all right.
I got it. Yeah.
But I like that you keep it, and because it's more natural and more of a like you said, personal to you. Now. When you were growing up, I mean, did you go to Catholic school? Because I feel like that a lot, like I did that.
No, but like I said, I'm from Texas, man, and it's
Yeah.
super conservative here. So, uh, yeah, the way I expressed myself and my inner disdain for all the normal, and I don't hate Texas. I just like it's so conservatively religious here, and superstition drives a lot of people's behavior. So,
Yeah.
the minute I could slap on some gene codes, I was into it.
Yeah, man. You mentioned witchcraft too with the new album, and when I was also in that time period, I started dating a Wiccan. She was like a high priestess or something, and I got really, really into that. Like, I didn't participate, like I wasn't doing the stuff. I was just watching watching her do her thing, and it was so interesting to me because I would see things happen. And so a lot of people hear this and they go, witchcraft, that's bullshit. It's like, kinda.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen some shit.
I have some friends that swear by it, man.
Have you seen anything like that with, during that time? Like, have you seen something supernatural happen that you can't really explain to anybody?
Man, I used to have like sleep paralysis, and I thought I was haunted for years until I found out it was sleep paralysis. And then everything else I've seen is like electronic related, which I don't think is a very reliable, 90s televisions. I mean, the TVs today still screw up. Back in the 90s, they would just pop on and off, and I was like, it's definitely a fucking ghost. But I don't know. As I've gotten older, I've got super rational, which can be boring at times, but it is what it is.
Yeah, you start understanding how things work a little bit more, and it's just not. It's when you're younger, it's easier to just come up with something cool that's happening. It's definitely ghosts. It's like the dude, Aliens, that one guy from History Channel. So what's the plan for you now with the album release? I know that there is no plan. You mentioned that there's like a show in the distance, but it's such a weird, like, are you planning a live stream, I guess? I mean, you've got these really cool videos coming out, I think pretty much every month at this point.
It's pretty close to that. I've done a few live streams. I think I'm done with them.
You're done?
Unless, we get like another serious lockdown where it's, I don't know. It'll be interesting because I'm not sure our industry, like this size of our industry can survive another full lockdown. Like the smaller venues, the clubs. And it's hard for me not to get on to like people, getting the vaccine and everything because it's just affecting me and so many of my friends on such a personal level. That's the plan. I want to get out, I want to tour, I want to tour the album. But if I have to, I guess I'll do some more live streams from my living room.
Yeah, you got to do something, you can't just stop producing. That's how the world ends, I would say. If everybody were just to give up, like, then what are we doing? So it's good to keep the fight going. Because we got to have shows, got to have something to do.
I agree, man. It's been wild. I'd settle for a local show right now, just a cover band. I haven't been to anything, so I'm going to like a little DJ event tonight. So I'm pretty stoked. I might be like standing in my chair, embarrassing myself because I haven't been in public.
You got to celebrate the album release, right?
I'm definitely doing that. When I leave you, I'm gonna go buy some food and some drink, and congratulate myself around my family. But yeah,
That's cool. Yeah, I actually have my first like live event this weekend that I'm excited about. I'm going to a wrestling show in LA that I'm even a little questionable about that. I'm just kind of like, I don't know. That sounds like a lot of people.
I think that, like, what did I go to here all back? I went to some event here all like a few weeks ago, and it was, a couple hundred people, and it definitely felt strange. I don't know.
Yeah.
I had fun, but at the same time, I was having anxiety over the whole situation, and it's almost like, that last year we all went through, last year and a half, whatever. That had a much larger impact on me mentally than I thought it would, and it's like almost just going to a bar with friends. I'm like almost still bored somehow. I'm unable to fully enjoy it. I don't know how to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird thing we're all going through. I don't think, it's going to be a generation before people start to forget about this shit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, me personally, like at first I was trying to look at the silver lining and like a positive side of things, trying not to get too dark. So I was like, maybe I needed this. I was going to a lot of shows, almost like 3 or 4 times a week. Like I was running myself ragged. So maybe I needed some time off to chill and feel better. But I'm also like you said, I have this fear also that the first show I go to, I'm going to be super stoked that I'm going. And when I go and I'm there, I'm going to be like, I want to go home. I don't feel good. There's too many people moshing. I see too much spit in the air. I don't know.
It's gonna make doing drugs awkward too. Like
true, man.
Germs.
Yeah, smoking. Even smoking. Yeah, that's the thing. You gotta now that I think that's a new. There you go. That's a new entrepreneurial market thing to focus on, like individual joints for everyone. Make them smaller. Put them in packages so that when you're gonna smoke, everybody gets one. Because the passing it around thing is just not gonna happen anymore.
Not for me. Not for a minute, anyway.
Yeah. Jeez. Well, I mean, like you said, hopefully we can pull out of this thing. I'm hoping that you have at least a few shows that you can play before, if we end up going back on a lockdown, just to get it out of your system too, and also to be it's a rough feeling to put out an album and not be able to perform it.
Definitely, it's very strict, and it was looking really good there for the last like 3 or 4 months. I was like, shit, this is gonna happen, and then my booking agent was like, we can plan it, but just be aware. So.
Well, it's the thing, we kind of went into it like fucking Black Friday on at stores. People don't, like, there's no thinking process. Like, guys, all right, let's reopen, but let's have a plan. Like, hey, you need to have a better plan, like, and a universal plan. Everybody do this at the same time. Not like Texas says fuck it or Florida says fuck it, and then like it's all unbalanced. Like we should all be rolling out a process together so that the doors open, or we end up trampling each other over toys at Target. You know what I mean?
Why would we learn from the past? That would make no sense.
Oh my goodness, it's embarrassing. I just want to go to a show and live a life. It's not that difficult. And that's the thing. Most of the people that are against it their argument is, I'm just trying to be free too. It's like, but you're
counterproductive. It's counterproductive. Yeah.
But anyway, your social media presence is something that I enjoy. So now, can we get away from social media, do you think? Because we were just talking about how that's kind of perpetuating the problem. So how do we balance out having like a social media presence as a musician, as an artist, you need it to get your music out. So how do we balance that out? How do we fix that?
I think it's doable. A lot of us, you separate the two, I'm watching my children be born into it. So I think it's a little more difficult for them. I think there needs to be actual classes being taught in school to help people. And and the boomers, they don't fucking get it. Like my mom is horrible at the internet. So, I saw this thing on Facebook and I'm like, I don't.
Nope.
What? Yeah, sorry. That's not how it works.
Yeah,
I don't think we need to fully separate. I think we need more time, because when we grew up without the internet, we got it and we kind of eased into it, and that was kind of, I think, the way to do it. But now, you just have it. So who knows? Maybe in 20 years, it won't be as big of a thing. Maybe maybe social media will start to die off, and we'll go back to you have to tour to be successful again. Who knows?
or we get the Neuralinks from Elon Musk, and everybody's just walking around with the internet in their brain.
Oh, I saw that thing, dude. That's crazy.
I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of into, because being into industrial music and all of that also comes with like an affinity towards that like cyberpunk kind of cybernetic vibe, and the synths and everything with you. So I've grown up kind of knowing that this was coming. Like, we've watched it in cyberpunk movies. Like, this is for sure going to happen, and I'm kind of okay with it. I'm a little worried about the hackers, like getting hacked, and my brain hacked.
Yeah.
That's
can you imagine if everybody could Google shit just like in their brain on the fly? I mean, I guess it would cut down on arguments.
For sure.
Or make it worse.
We would need a way to project it to the other person to show them, like, look, man, I'm right, or whatever. Like that's it's such a weird thing, man. Unless I don't know. Yeah, I kind of still feel like I need some kind of tangible thing. I need like a hologram. I need some. It can't just all be in here, because then I'm just fucking crazy.
You got a point. I hadn't thought of it that way.
Yeah,
you're just staring off into space, just like searching your socials for 3 hours, checked out.
What if that's what's happening to some of these folks that you see at, like, in mental institutions that are just kind of spaced out? That's what they're doing. They're just there first. We're the ones that are behind. Oh man. So have you started thinking about new music now that this one's out? Because a lot of artists, they by the time the album comes out, you're already writing something else. Is that where you're at?
Not yet, man. This is, my 6th full length. I'm going to let this one breathe a little bit. I probably won't start even entertaining the idea for at least a year. I mean, I say that, who knows? But that's my plan. I'm going to take some time off from writing because it's, it's taxing. It's mentally taxing in a way. And that's why I want touring to happen, so I can bounce off of that a little bit, Yeah.
Yeah. Being on the road inspires new stuff too. You see new things.
Definitely.
Yeah. If you were to do another band, another group, another project that's not in this genre, what would you do?
That's a good question, man. No, I'd probably do some sort of metal band, or maybe just go left field and do some fucking classical shit. I love classical music. I'm just not that. It'd be nice to be able to like compose, maybe work with a composer, compose some actual music, because it's always fascinated me. I'm not sure I could really, actually contribute, when you've got Wolfgang and all those assholes from 500 years ago that made music that'll never be topped in that field. But that would be interesting. But I could see myself being in a metal band again, because doing this one man thing for so long, I do miss what initially I hated about being in bands, which is bouncing ideas off people and somebody saying, hey, maybe this is better. Maybe you could arrange this differently, which I don't have.
Right. Yeah. It's important. At least for me, I like bouncing ideas, and I get what you're saying too, though, because you got to have a good relationship with these band members, or else it's just it's hell. Living in a room, sweaty room, playing instruments with 3 guys or 4 guys that you don't like is not a good. Yeah. But it's bouncing the ideas. That's how I think we get out of things together. Like, that's even this whole situation that we're in now. We all have to work together. So I'm with you on that. Like, being in a band, I think is nice. It's a nice change when you're a solo artist for a long time. Classical music. Would you do like scores for movies or games?
I would love to score movies. I've scored a couple games. I'm probably about to start working on another one in the next couple of months.
Nice.
But But yeah, I really haven't had any I've had some of my music licensed for movies, but not an opportunity to score one. But that would be awesome.
Is there a particular director you'd like to work with?
I'd love to work with that Ari Aster dude.
Ari Aster?
The dude that did like Midsummer and Hereditary.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Rad, yeah.
I think also maybe the dude, forget his name, did Mandy.
Yeah, I don't know that guy's name. It's a great movie.
Yeah, Mandy's good. Or the guy that did the color of space or something like that too. Is it Cosmos?
Oh, yeah.
Is his name Cosmos? I'm starting to think his name is Cosmos. Or there's definitely a director named Cosmos.
I'm not that great with modern directors, unfortunately.
Well, I feel like that's something that's changing with modern cinema, I guess, if you want to call it that. Like a lot of new movies that are coming out, like especially around Nicolas Cage for some reason, are very different. Like they have a different vibe to them. They have the way it's directed. I feel like it lends itself more to, and they play more like metal music or synthwave music in their movies now, as opposed to more traditional scores with symphonies and such.
Yeah, there's definitely room there for it. And sorry,
that's okay.
My phone's trying to die. Anyway, there's definitely room for it in modern music. I think it still works quite well. But yeah, we just gotta get these big directors to fucking pay attention to us small synth guys.
Sweet. Yeah, man. I would say it's definitely happening. If you look at some of the soundtracks that are coming out these days, especially A24 movies, I think have all been pretty good with that. So I think it's a matter of time for sure that you before you have your own movie that you're scoring.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, man. All right. So album is out today. Rites of Love and Reverence. It's out on Century Media. Pick it up if you're watching this and you're having a good time. I'm a big fan, dude. I love all the videos that I've seen. I love all the music that I've heard. So I would call that being a fan. And yeah, I'm stoked to hopefully eventually maybe see you guys live at some point. That's all I can wish for, I guess.
Yeah, if you're out in LA, then I always come through there. It's one of my favorite spots. So I'll if you see me announce a tour, dude, drop me an email.
For sure. For sure, brother. Well, thanks again, James. Also, social media, I guess, for the band. If you want people to follow and keep in, is it at just Gost?
It's at GOST1980S.
1980s, Gost 1980s.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So follow at Gost 1980s and yeah, pick up the album, please. It's awesome. And thanks again for coming on the show, dude.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Have a good one. Stay safe out there.
You too.
Later.